I'm on page 227 of our Osborne book, Statistical Functions. Exercise 2, using COUNTIF, SUMIF and more of the analysis tool pack. In this next exercise, we're going to use the histogram tool to find the analysis tool pack. It's only available in Excel. We're going to make use of the purchase invoice spreadsheet, which we saw earlier in our chapter. So open T6 purchase invoice. Stage 1, we're now going to make use of the data to create a histogram to analyse the frequency of the different numbers of our data. We want to save our workbook as T6 exercise 2. I've now saved my workbook. It should appear as shown on my screen. We want to create a histogram to analyse the values of our purchase invoice. The first step is to get some idea of the spread of gross values. Since we're going to use the same set of values multiple of times, we'll define a named range for the group of cells holding the gross values. So I'm going to highlight the gross values. And I'm going to name range it. To name range, I'm going to go to the left-hand corner here. And I'm going to call it gross value. Now be very careful how you type it, because you need to use it the same way in your formulas. When you've typed it, press enter and you'll see that that's taken. If I click off and I want to see the range again, I click on the drop down and I select gross value and it will activate it again. In cell D2, we want to enter the text min value. In E2, we want to enter a formula to calculate the min value of the gross values using our range that we just created. So I'm going to go here, select min, and I'm going to type gross value. You'll see that it's accepted it because it's highlighted and activated my range. If I press enter, it's brought up my minimum value. In cell F2, we want to enter the text range of values. We want to wrap text, the text. In G2, we want to enter a formula to calculate the difference between the max and the minimum of the gross value. So I'm going to click on the drop down. I'm going to select max. I'm going to change my data range and I'm going to type gross value. I will know if it's accepted it, if I've typed it correctly, when I see the activate. As I want to minus it from the minimum value, I'm going to do minus min, open bracket, and type gross value. Again, it's activated my data range, so I'm going to close the bracket and I'm going to press enter. And there's my answer. I could have done max gross value minus min. Either way would have been appropriate. From this information, we could decide to have 4 bins spaced by every 2000. In cell G4, we want to enter the value and make it bold. So G4, we want to enter value. And I'm going to make it bold. In cell F5, I'm going to enter bin 1. In G5, 2000. In F6, I'm going to enter bin 2 and enter 4000 in G6. As I want 4 bins, I could easily replicate down till I get the 4 bins and enter the values accordingly. We'll let the values above 8,000 to go into the bracket of other. We now want to go to data analysis from our data menu and select histogram. So I'm going to go to data, data analysis, and look for histogram. There it is, and I'll click OK. Our histogram dialog box has now come up. In the input range, we want to type gross value. In the bin range, we want to type where we want it. So we want G4 to G8. If you're typing it manually, make sure that you enter the absolute cell references, the dollar signs, or you could highlight it. So I want G4 to G8. And you'll see that the computer automatically puts the dollar signs in for you. We want to check our labels. In the output range, I want to type I4 or select I4. And I also want a chart to be formed, so I'll click chart option. When I'm done, I'll click OK. And the computer has produced my details. I have my value, which is of the 2, 4, 6, 8, my frequency. And if I go across, you'll see the histogram has been produced. And there we have it. This stage is now complete.